Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Spooky AF. My name is Rob, and today I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Suze. Suze, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I do apologize if in this episode and the previous one, I unfortunately treated all of y'all to some head cold ASMR. I do apologize. I am much better than I was, but things are still moving out of my system.
Look, people get sick. This is it.
Yeah.
You're still here though. You're providing content to the paranormal playground, and we respect that.
Oh, but I mean, if I wasn't here anymore, maybe I'd like fully live in the paranormal playground.
Potentially, maybe.
Ooh, could we start a religion? Tax-free exemption.
I'm all on board with that.
Oh God! All right.
Totally there.
So, do we have updates?
We do have updates.
Okay.
We absolutely do. But I will say, as of the time that this episode is released, Suze, you will be an Irish citizen.
Yes. When this is released, I will be an Irish citizen. I have like a countdown on my phone. I am so excited. I'm still deciding what I'm gonna wear. I'm just very excited.
Fair. Good. That's the way to do it. That's a good way to do it.
Yep.
I'm excited for you as well.
Well, yeah, because we're all gonna go out, and
Yep.
and I'm gonna have half a pint of Guinness.
Yep.
And
as is tradition, and that will be it.
Yeah, and then
You'll be in the gang then.
Oh yeah, fully in the gang, and now I can fully
Yep.
really lean into every time I hear an American accent. I'm just going, oh God.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then we'll go and get a shamrock tattooed on you. And potentially like a Celtic cross as well. And then you'll be fine. You're in the gang then.
Like Celtic cross right across the tits. Only God can judge me.
Yeah.
A shamrock.
And you'll basically look like you're from Boston then.
It's true. Like a shamrock right under my left eye with like the Dropkick Murphys logo down my neck. Like it will really lean in.
That's the Irish gang members equivalent of the teardrop tattoo.
Yes.
The shamrock.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, if you go to an Irish prison, it's just a bunch of lads with a shamrock tattoo under their eye.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's a fun one. But I'm very excited for you. I'm looking forward to that happening.
Yep.
Other updates. We were just talking offline before we started recording there, and we have come across some interesting stats on our our podcast.
Oh
recently.
my God.
Yeah, it's been we're getting a lot of engagement recently, which we're loving. Please keep it coming. Everyone who's listening, thank you very much. It's been amazing. But just a little peek behind the curtain of the geographical spread recently of where we've had people listening to us. So we have some staples in obviously Ireland, quite a few people in the US, the UK, and Australia. We've talked about Australia before. For some reason, people in Australia like to listen to us a lot, and thank you. Please continue that.
For sure.
However, recently, I'm going to just list off some countries here that have also been listening to us. We've got Germany, Japan, Ukraine, which is lovely, thank you. Canada, Finland, Mexico, Sweden, Azerbaijan, France, Belgium, Brazil, Netherlands, Paraguay, Poland, Russia, Spain, and the Faroe Islands.
Oh God.
Yeah,
That's
quite a spread.
quite a spread.
I also went even further in a deep dive before we were recording and discovered that out of all of the countries that we've been listened to it now represents 26% of the countries on the globe, which is very strange.
Oh, it is. That is a level of around the worldness that I am mentally and spiritually unprepared for.
Yeah, we're on 51 countries at the moment.
I just always think back to like just the mad conversations we would have about paranormal shite just all the time when we previously used to work in the same place, and then like obviously we stayed friends after that and just would have these really send each other weird shit and all that, and we would for years we were like, oh, we should start a podcast. It doesn't matter if no one listens, but we'll just be able to talk about this. And so the fact that people around the world have listened is both sweet and terrifying, and I hope y'all like us, and please be nice. And
exactly.
I want to laugh and cry, and it's really nice.
It is. It's lovely. But no, thank you. It's been very, very nice. Obviously, we have many, many stories still to come. So we're not going anywhere anytime soon. And as Sue said in our last episode, we are looking to go do another on-site investigation much further afield than Maynooth for our next podcast anniversary. So if people have any ideas, please submit them to us. Please be realistic. We don't make any money off this podcast, and we both work full-time.
Oh so. Yeah, like I am so sorry, Straya, but we cannot front the money to go to Australia. to do
No,
an
absolutely
investigation.
not.
Not currently.
No. As much as I'd love to go to Area 51, it's also not on the cards for the moment.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
So, Ireland, maybe the UK.
Yeah, maybe the UK. Maybe like, somewhere in Europe, maybe.
The Schengen zone, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, and I'll get to go through the EU passport line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm
it's
so
the
excited.
greatest feeling ever. I had this. So was it last year or the year before? And it doesn't matter. I think it was 2023. I went to Italy. We went.
Oh, you
away
did? I
for,
remember that.
A few days. Yeah, and it was delightful. However, the highlight of the holiday for me was, so we flew, the place we went to in Italy, there was no direct flights from Ireland, so we had to transfer through Stansted.
Oh, okay.
And Stansted, I don't like Stansted Airport. I'm sorry if anyone has particularly strong feelings about Stansted, but my feelings are it's a nightmare of an airport.
Oh, it's awful.
If
I
I
hate
could
it.
not go there again, it's already, it's too soon. So, yeah, anyway, going through Stansted Airport, and we were flying in to the south of Italy, and when we got there, we got off the plane, and there was this humongous queue getting off the plane, and we were waiting, and we were like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is insane. Like, it was taking so long. And then we got to the doors after, I'd say, probably about 10 minutes of queuing, and discovered, to our delight, that the queue was for non-EU, or in this case, British passports.
Yeah.
And the EU line was empty. So we got to walk past all of these British people and just walk straight up to the EU line. And I actually heard people being like, actually saying like, why do they get to walk past us? And then people responding went, well, because they have EU passports. Oh, that just gave me some serious energy for the rest of that holiday.
Like, I feel bad for those in the line who were like, for example, like Scottish or Northern Irish.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't vote for this.
Yeah, I didn't. But for those who did, I'm like, welcome. Welcome.
You've made your bed.
Yeah, welcome to the bed you've made. I hope you're comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? They get to just... British people love queuing, so they should be happy.
It's true.
Sorry, I shouldn't paint them all with the same brush. It's English people who voted for this. Everyone else said no.
And like more specifically, it's like Southern English people who voted for this.
Yeah.
It's
Funnily enough, the people who vote for the Tories.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Tory strongholds that voted for this.
Yeah. So it was delightful. So Suze, I'm excited for you to also get that experience.
I am too, because like I've been in Europe like pretty much my whole adult life, and I've never been able to go through that line, and I'm super excited because I was always super jealous of my partner, who's obviously from the UK, and he for a long time could go through that line, and now he can't. Jesus, he's gonna have to go
God.
Oh,
you get to ditch him, and then you get to walk through the line.
And he definitely did not vote for Brexit.
Oh, that's even better. You'll just ditch him and be like, well, I guess I'll see you whenever.
Yep. Fuck off.
I guess I'll see you at bag drop.
I guess I'll see. Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say, though, the most delightful experience that you will have with passport control is when you come back through Dublin, because you hand over your passport and they basically glance at the passport, and then they make it seem like you're really bothering them by making them do their job, and then they just send you through. Well,
Rob, they do that to me now, and I remember when I first came in, like, short story, I came into Ireland, and I remember when I did my, I was a student in the UK, so when I first went to the UK, I had to go through, like, you had to land and go through, like, Heathrow, because only they had the kind of things to basically, like, activate your student visa. And so you go through there, and you get just fucking questioned to the tits by this guy who knows nothing about your master's in feminist literature, for sure. And they're asking you really specific questions, and they're basically like, you don't, like, but I'm like, but your country, look at the visa that they gave me. And anyway, and it's a real headache. So I was really prepared in Ireland, for the same treatment. So I had all my documentation together, I had my passport, I had all the things I was supposed to. Went up to the Irish thing, was expecting it to take like 15-20 minutes. No, handed them the paperwork, and literally the only thing he said was, grand, welcome to Ireland, and then just waved me through. Yep. Didn't ask a question, didn't ask for anything further, just stamped, and in I went. Like, just no clue.
Look, we're welcoming people.
Yep. Yeah.
We've made you one of our own now.
It's true. So no,
you're in the gang.
Yeah.
You're never leaving.
Well, it's true.
Now
I take my my pledge of fidelity in a couple weeks, and then I'm just in the gang.
You've got Hotel California rules now. Like you're in. You can never leave.
Feckin' it's grand.
Yeah, absolutely. in respect to the man, David Lynch obviously recently passed away,
Oh,
so
I know.
I have it on the cards now to rewatch Twin Peaks, and I'm cautiously skeptical that my wife may watch it with me as well.
I know your wife. She's my friend. She's gonna hate that.
I think we'll probably get maybe 15 minutes into the first episode, and she's gonna literally say to me, Rob, what the fuck are we watching? And then that's gonna be that.
Like,
for her.
I like, my husband and I loved Twin Peaks, but we like really weird shit. And so, but like, I know your wife, and she's not really of that ilk.
No, she's not. No, she's definitely not.
We've been watching, so I'm really into cyberpunk stuff, and
Yeah.
so we've been watching Altered Carbon.
Oh yeah, you need to read the books.
I know, I need to. It's been on my list for ages. But yeah, we've been watching it, and it's so good so far. We're really enjoying it.
Okay, so you're on season, have you watched season 1?
We're on season 1.
Okay, stop at season 1.
Oh, yeah?
Just stop at season 1 and remember it for the good show that it is.
Okay. Did they go crazy in season 2? And
It's just not worth watching after it.
Okay. No, that's fair. And then obviously we're still working our way through the X-Files.
Good.
But that's a long-term endeavor.
Yeah, that's fair. That's you've got a lot of stuff to get through with that. Yeah.
Do you know the cigarette man is still alive?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I think we follow him on our Instagram.
Hell, yeah, for sure. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him. He's very funny, actually.
We looked him up because my husband was like, oh, he's definitely dead. For sure he's dead. He looked like he's about to keel over in the show. And then we Googled him. No, he's all right. He's still around.
Yeah, he's still knocking around. He was in the most recent seasons of the X-Files as well.
Damn.
Yeah, so no, he's still knocking about.
Get at it.
Yeah, no, he's doing his thing. I respect him. We also follow Kyle MacLachlan, by the way, of Twin Peaks. Well,
because I was about to say, when you say David Lynch rewatch, I feel like I need to rewatch Twin Peaks, his version of Dune, and Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Which is one of the scariest and just surreal shows I've ever seen in my life.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange. Yeah, no, you should. You absolutely should. The last thing I'll tell you about it is when he died, I saw someone post on Instagram. It was a clip from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And it was Homer watching Twin Peaks, but it was just like this stereotype, like narration, like Kyle MacLachlan style narration of Twin Peaks. And he's talking about how they have amazing pie and coffee there. Mm-hmm. And then it just cuts to the screen and it's a waiter dancing with a horse, like waltzing with them. And then it just cuts back to Homer and he's like, incredible. I have no idea what I've just watched.
God. I do remember the day that David Lynch died. I listened to Laura Palmer, the song by Bastille, and I was like saluting him in my head. I was like,
yeah, no, he was amazing. So yeah,
of course we say that now, but hopefully nothing comes out about him like fucking Neil Gaiman. Jesus.
I was literally just thinking
that. I'm like, please don't be just the worst person ever, please.
Just leave him alone, please.
I really hope you didn't do anything shitty.
Yeah, I really hope so. So yeah, I hope we don't have to update this.
Exactly, like future episode, like, well, here we are.
We were wrong.
We were wrong.
I am looking forward to talking about today because I mentioned it in a previous episode that it was the last time we recorded, actually, that something was going on, and I basically haven't talked about it since. So I'm super excited to talk about today's topic.
Okay.
And it's mostly because it's something that is currently happening.
Okay. Oh God, please don't say like fascism in America. I don't want to talk about that.
No.
Okay, good.
No. You'd be glad to know that is not
Yay.
what I'm talking about today. So no, that is definitely not what I'm talking about today. So as you know, Sis, I have been known to appreciate a good UFO story from time to time.
I think I do know that about you, Rob.
Yes. Some might say obsessed. I wouldn't. You actually got me to read out what was on my Reddit feed the last time we recorded, and I pretty much proved to myself that, yeah, there's there's quite a lot of a lot of UFO stuff on my Reddit.
Yeah.
And today is no different. So
I'm in for this.
Good.
Oh,
Excellent.
Rob, I also just thought of a disturbing statistic. Do you know that it's only a couple of years and we'll have been friends for a decade?
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I just to throw that in to start.
You're dropping some deep lore on me there.
Yeah, sorry, it just occurred to me because I was like, oh yeah, I've known Rob's into UFOs for ages now. And I'm like, yeah, since I met him. When did I meet him? Oh, fuck me.
Damn.
So yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah, fuck.
Yep.
Okay.
We're gonna go stare into it.
Yeah.
Like stare.
So we're going to go past that one.
Yeah. We're just gonna keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah. So UFOs and UAPs, as they're now known, and all that goes with them, I'm incredibly interested in them.
Yep.
And there's a lot been going on in the States at the moment. And I'm not talking about politics. I'm purely just talking about the UFO movement. So there's been a huge amount going on since around 2022 when there was this, I suppose, kind of acknowledgement by the US government that, you know, not everything is as it seems, and that there's certain things, certain reports of UFOs and UAPs that they themselves can't explain. And for the most part, they're able to offer explanations to say 99% of things, but there's a 1% there that they actually can't explain.
Yep.
And things kind of came out that there was a body within the Pentagon that was actually effectively investigating all these things, kind of X-Files style. Mm-hmm. People who are actually being paid to report and document these sightings and to investigate them and to come down on conclusions. So that's kind of what came out, and there was testimonies by certain people in Congress, and it's gotten to a point now where like the conversation around UFOs has actually kind of come into the norm.
Yeah.
And there's been literal hearings in Congress talking about UFOs. So talking about NHI's non-human intelligence, where like these are actually being talked about in Congress now. Like people are actually talking about like potential for maybe alien life, but also like, you know, like drones and things like that, and like mechanical things. And I suppose with AI coming into the forefront now as well, there's been a lot of conversations going on around there. And just in general, it's an exciting time for anyone that's interested in the topic.
It also
there's a lot going on.
It makes you think. It makes me think of. I know I've mentioned a couple times now, but like in Dune Prophecy, it takes place just after the war with AI, which they called the war with the thinking machines, that nearly kind of decimated all humanity.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm just thinking now of like us fighting, you know, AI like megazords. So
Fighting ChatGPT.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm quite enjoying using ChatGPT. I know AI is an ethical nightmare, but sometimes you just need to know, like, what is the scientific evidence around people taking weird supplements? And I'm like, I don't want to take them. I'm just interested in what they think.
Yeah, I'm a co-pilot fan myself, but you know, it is useful. Like it does have its uses.
Yeah, it does. I would never trust it with like, I'm bleeding to death. What do I do? Like,
no, and you see, that's the difference. So like, you're someone who has like a healthy bit of like cop on skepticism with these sort of things.
Yeah.
Other people don't, and I think that's a concern. And without wading into other political stuff going on at the moment, there are restrictions being lifted on AI that probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to lead to certain things happening, I'm sure. But anyway,
sorry, yeah.
that's not what we're talking about today.
No, sorry. Okay,
so,
tangent.
All of this to say,
Yep.
UFOs have been in the I suppose the cultural zeitgeist now for the last 2 years in a much more open way, and people aren't, I suppose, feeling like they're being ridiculed for talking about them more or believing in them.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that's probably the best way to put it. So, with all that said, there's been a lot of things happening since the end of 2024 in the States that has been reported a lot in the media. And
are you going to talk about that weird Florida mall thing?
No,
Okay.
so that actually happened in January of 2024.
Oh shit! Okay.
The UFO invasion in Miami. No, we've covered that already. Don't worry. So starting in November 2024, there were a number of drone sightings or lights in the sky or whatever you want to call them, UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call them, basically. And there was basically a number of lights that were seen in the sky that people just couldn't explain.
Yep.
And it kind of turned into this whole sort of weird, almost wading into War of the Worlds territory with reports of this. So this all began in November 2024 in New Jersey.
Okay.
And basically, I suppose it's really appropriate that it happened in New Jersey as well, because War of the Worlds was actually broadcast from New Jersey.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so Grover's Mill in New Jersey. So it kind of, it's, I suppose, appropriate that this is happening here. So this kind of started happening, and there was like one or two reports here and there of like strange lights in the sky, strange like drones and things like that, but it wasn't really kind of like paid much attention to. However, then they started to ramp up quite a bit. So the first sighting of these drones was on the 13th of November, and by the 18th of November, additional sightings were reported in Morris County in New Jersey and neighboring Somerset County. And these sightings were kind of initially around around the Raritan River corridor, or Raritan, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but then soon kind of spread out further across New Jersey, including additional counties. So I have a list of counties here. So Bergen, Burlington, Camden, Essex, Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, Passaic, Sussex, Union, and Warren. So loads of counties. I don't know the geographical size of New Jersey or spread, so I'm assuming it's a large enough area though with all these counties.
I don't think New Jersey's that big. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a map. Hold on.
Yeah, you pull up some stats there.
Yeah, no.
So I'll keep talking while you're looking this up. So while this was happening, there were also then reported drone incursions happening in US air bases in the UK, and then US air bases in Germany, specifically in the Ramstein Air Force Base. So according to a general there, Patrick S. Ryder, he said it's quite normal for private drones to periodically fly over US military bases. He thought that kind of the operation wasn't really that unusual, and the vast majority posed no physical threat to our forces or impact our operations. However, people did make the connection that the Air Force bases that they were seen over were exclusively only seen over Air Force bases where nukes are stored or could be stored, the kind of like the ready, like nuclear readiness kind of teams and all that, the ones that would operate those sort of planes and things like that.
Oh.
So there was kind of some questions raised in there. It's like, why are they only being seen there?
There are nukes in Germany?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, that's just me being really ignorant. I just didn't know. All right.
Yeah. It's the whole kind of like NATO.
Great, more nukes, yay.
Yeah, loads in Europe actually. So the New Jersey stuff kind of then started to spread out. So it slowly started to spread out to New York City, Orange County with the New York Orange County, Philadelphia, and then various parts of Pennsylvania as well.
Yeah.
Slowly after this, then there were more sightings reported in California, in Connecticut, Delaware, some in Florida, Massachusetts, Texas, Virginia. So like it kind of was starting to spread out quite a bit.
All right. And so wait, what are they seeing precisely?
So they're seeing these kind of just like lights in the sky.
Right.
And I'll send you a picture just so you can kind of have an idea of just like an idea of what's being seen. So they're, I suppose, exactly what you'd expect to be seeing. It's just these like lights in the sky that, you know, could be a plane, could be a fucking star, could be something. But I suppose it was just more consistently being reported than anything else. So people just really weren't sure.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to say the left one looks like a plane to me.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And then the right one I think looks like a meteor or something.
Yeah, so there was just a lot more like sightings of lights in the sky than usual.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fair.
So, and it kind of became this thing where there were more and more reports kind of coming in, and I suppose it became this thing that even when I was on like Reddit, like you would be on just scrolling through Reddit and you would see multiple people uploading videos and pictures of drones that they themselves had seen in their area. So the interesting thing about this is that the sightings were mostly reported over residential areas. But these residential areas allegedly a lot of them were quite close to sensitive locations, including military installations, emergency communication centers, local law enforcement facilities, and like reservoirs and things like that.
Oh.
Then there were more drones then seen near kind of critical infrastructure, so kind of like highways, power stations, and then a key one then being there were a number of drones seen around nuclear power plants in New Jersey, New York, and Maryland. So it's just really kind of like gripped the internet for a while, and there were just like literally every day like dozens and dozens of people reporting on them. So much so that it got to a point on Reddit that on say like the UFOs subreddit, there was just a mega thread made because people were like, there's too many people reporting on this. We can't just keep having these same posts coming up. So they made mega threads that people can only post in there on it.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is it kind of serves as this almost like timeline then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you can
of
like
all these
track
reports coming in. Yeah. So it's really interesting. So we're talking like dozens of reports here coming in, and people who were like closer to the sightings and closer to the drones, some of them said that they were as big as SUVs. Some of them said that they were accompanied by this loud humming noise. Some of them reported seeing drones, and then not that long afterwards would see like F-16s, like fighter jets, like coming in their general direction afterwards.
Okay.
The implication there is that they were chasing them
Yeah.
trying to see what they were. And yeah, so it's just been really interesting. Now, I would say 99% of them have been explained away as either some sort of like aircraft. Some of the videos in particular, like they literally have the like flashing red and green like anti-collision lights on.
Right.
It's very clearly a plane. Like,
It's my guys, it's a plane.
so much so that I got to a point that I saw a lot of people online, not just on Reddit, but on different kind of websites, saying like that they were starting to get tired of the drone reports coming out, because so clearly, like, most of them were just planes. And it was almost kind of like delegitimizing, I suppose, the sightings that were happening. I suppose it is the way to put it.
Yeah.
There was room then for like conspiracy theories to come up that people were like purposefully posting just planes to basically like take attention away from the actual sightings that were like the more concerning ones. I suppose is the way to put it. Yeah, so this basically kind of like from mid-November to mid-December, there's just like dozens, as I said, of reports of drones. And then by about kind of, I suppose, Christmas Eve, that kind of period, the sightings in New Jersey had basically decreased dramatically back down to, I suppose, the normal level that they're used to seeing.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about all of this, though, is that it wasn't just civilians that were reporting on drone sightings. There were actually a number of military reported sightings as well, which I find, I suppose, a little bit more interesting. So, as I said, there were a number of drone sightings seen over US military installations. And apparently there were a number of like highly trained security personnel themselves who were reporting on these. So these people are like trained to know what they're seeing in the sky.
Yeah.
And even they were like quite confused by what they were seeing.
Oh, okay.
So apparently there was one person in particular said that it was a security officer in a military base reported seeing a flash in the side mirror of their car.
Right.
And then a light raising straight up from the tree line and then towards where the weapons were stored.
Okay.
So like missiles and things like that, I think, like on the base.
So
Weird. Apparently this security officer reported what he saw to his superiors, and then apparently a number of days later, multiple drones were seen in the same area, again doing similar things. So this kind of escalated to a point that the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Department of Defense actually issued a statement in December confirming sightings, and they even went a step further to say that they actually didn't know who was operating the drones, and that there was no present indication of involvement by other nations. They just didn't know who it was, basically.
Oh, that's alarming.
Yeah. And then they went a step further to say, quote, "They have not been able to locate or identify the operators or the points of origin." So they were as confused as everyone else, basically, is what they were saying. And like, just bear in mind, this came from the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Department of Defense. Like, this is basically like one step away from the White House.
Fair. Yeah.
So then there were reports coming in from the Coast Guard saying that there were multiple low-altitude aircraft spotted in the vicinity of military bases. They didn't know what they were. The Coast Guard, again, who were trained to identify these things, they were as confused as everyone else. And so basically this all escalated to a point that the White House actually made a statement on this. So they basically came out and said that they think the majority of them were aircraft. However, they can't say for certain what everything is. And they basically said that they don't know. It's kind of the way to interpret it, I suppose.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just all very, very strange. The military were as confused as everyone else. The police were getting confused. Civilians were getting confused. Everyone was basically confused. People didn't know what was going on.
Well, and it's also, if I can say, like, I think it's people's propensity to, what is it, like Occam's razor, in the sense of if you hear hoof sounds in Central Park, you should think horses rather than zebras. Like,
exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So they see lights and they're like, oh shit, aliens.
Yeah. So I think the concerning thing that came out was the military were kind of going like, yeah, we don't know what this is either.
Which I think is more concerning to me in the sense of, oh, maybe it's like some tech that some country that could be seeking to do harm might have rather than an ET.
Yeah, exactly. So this kind of all resulted in the FBI, the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, the Air Force, all doing this kind of joint investigation into the drone incidents, because they were starting to get concerned that there were progressively more and more of them being seen around areas where weapons are stored and like armories and things like that. So there was the there was an air station in Fort Worth, and there was also one in the Texas Army National Guard Armory as well, seen around them. So they were starting to get concerned. These were around like sensitive areas that they shouldn't have been. So yeah, so there was kind of, I think, to restore kind of public confidence in them, the Air Force kind of made a step further to say that they'd actually arrested a Chinese national. They said that this person was seen flying a drone near an Air Force base in California, and that he was detained at San Francisco airport trying to basically fly back to China.
Right.
So there was kind of this almost like, don't worry, it's done now.
It was just a dude with a drone.
Yeah, but then a week later, the Marine Corps came out to say that they were now seeing drones over their bases in San Diego as well.
So, and it's clearly not that dude because he's in detainment. Yeah.
Exactly. So it just caused this whole kind of just confusion, basically.
It's also very on brand for this administration to be like, oh, it was a migrant person. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this was the previous administration.
Oh, this was Biden. Shit. Well, sorry,
Yeah.
I thought this was later in the year.
No, there is about to be an update on the current administration's view of this.
Oh, delightful.
So anyway, this all happened, and that's kind of the usual timeline that is kind of agreed of all happenings.
Yep.
So there were a number of people who came out, and they gave their thoughts on what these could be, and kind of what they believe the I suppose the sightings are.
Yeah.
And obviously people have their opinions on this. So an article in a magazine called Popular Mechanics came out, where they basically, it was a January 2nd, 2025 release, and they basically polled a number of people on what they thought their most likely reasons for the drone sightings were. Mm-hmm. And they listed these 9 explanations for what they are. So I'm going to go through the 9 explanations.
Okay.
So number 1, people are now noticing drones that have just always been around.
Okay. Yeah.
Is explanation number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, natural and human-made phenomena are being misidentified as drones.
Okay. Yep. This is
Yep.
good. Yeah.
Number 3, the wave is being exacerbated by real drone operators pranking the public.
Very possible.
Yep. Number 4, the drones are being flown by spies from hostile countries with nefarious intent.
I mean, I guess it's within the realm of possibility, but I would say it's less likely.
Yep. Number 5, the drones are being flown by terrorists.
Again, humanly possible, but again, like less likely, I would hope so.
Yeah. Number 6, and I'm gonna circle back to this one.
Okay.
The drones are owned by the government and are searching for lost radioactive material.
You know, wouldn't fucking surprise me. Like,
Yep. Number 7, the drones are spraying chemicals.
again, now we're getting onto like
Yep.
a QAnon thread.
Yep. And I will talk on number 7 as well. There's a reasonable explanation for that.
Okay.
Number 8, the drones are part of an effort to enslave mankind and create a one-world dictatorship.
And here we are.
And number 9, the drones are actually alien spaceships.
Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. Well. Oh god, the journey of that list was much like the journey that we've all been on as millennials. Like
Yeah.
started out plausible and fine and ended insanity.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey.
Yep. We're all on a journey and it's straight to hell.
Yeah, it's a fun one. So yeah, so I want to touch on some of the list there that's talked about, particularly the last few ones there. So the drones are spraying chemicals one, that actually came from. So there were some people that talked about how farmers around kind of like larger farms now have moved away from driving tractors through their fields and spraying their crops with like pesticides and things like that, because it takes a long time to do and it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
So apparently now there's actually these drones that farmers can either rent or buy themselves to operate, that are about the size of a car.
Shit.
But they fly them through their fields, and they have to do it at nighttime because they're obviously quite large. Mm-hmm. But they fly them through their fields at nighttime, and they're actually designed to release pesticides onto crops.
Okay.
So they're basically like crop dusting at night, effectively.
So this is less like chemtrails, people are turning the frogs gay or whatever the fuck, and more just this is an advance in agricultural technology.
Yeah, so I think some people latched onto it basically being like, they are spraying chemicals and they're making the frogs gay and all that, but the actual like legit explanation for it could be this. And there was a video that came out online of someone using one of these crop sprayers, and the person that was using it was being a fucking idiot and was basically flying it with their lights off.
Oh.
So people were just seeing this like black shape in the sky at night, but couldn't actually identify what it was until it then turned on its lights to shine down on the field. And then all of a sudden it's very clear what it's doing. And it's very clearly an agricultural drone that people are using.
Okay.
So that's kind of one of the, I suppose, the explanations as to what it, could be, which I actually find really interesting. That the drones have become adapted enough now that people can use them for that sort of.
I mean, I think this kind of, I'm sorry, I think it kind of connects to one of the other like things on the list, which is if you remember kind of the crop circle craze that happened.
Yep.
It would like sometimes it was farmers who were doing it to increase, tourism and interest in their farms. And so I'm like,
Yep.
This could be farmers again. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. Like it weirdly, I find it mad interesting actually. As I said, like that, it's just really cool technology that's been developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting. So another one of the points then that I wanted to touch on was the looking for radioactive materials.
Right.
So this is another believable and worrying one.
Oh yeah, because I mean, just if it came out, it would just not surprise me at all. They were like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of radioactive material that we just don't know where the fuck it is. So enjoy the cancer.
Yeah. So something that I've kind of known about for a while, and it's a worrying thing to be aware of, is the amount of radioactive materials that go missing on an annual basis.
Is it alarmingly high?
Staggeringly high.
Oh, good.
Like, staggeringly high. And I'm not talking about, like, nuclear weapons. I'm talking about, like, medical devices that use radiation. That are, lost in transit or are, not destroyed correctly and are left emitting radiation and things like that. It's a worrying amount. If people are genuinely interested in, like, the education behind it, they should check out Kyle Hill. He's on YouTube. He's quite a famous, like, science educator. Really, really interesting. He does really interesting, like, educational videos on, like, actually how safe nuclear energy is and all that. And it really, really interesting. But he has some videos there that talk about the stats behind it, and it's worryingly high. So that all goes into this next point of on the 17th of December 2024, the mayor of Belleville, New Jersey, seemed to basically confirm that he thought the drones were government-operated drones and stated that, the quote from him, "In my opinion, they're looking for something. What might they be looking for? Maybe that's radioactive material." And he basically went on to say that a radioactive emitting device used in medical applications had recently been reported missing by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. So then a congresswoman got involved in this then, Nicole Maliotakis.
Okay.
And so she's from Staten Island, and she basically sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security inquiring about a missing device and the actions that they were taking to mitigate the issue and protect Americans' health and public safety and all that.
Yeah.
So the next day then, a spokesperson for the Naja Cancer Center confirmed that they basically mailed a missing part and stated that the component that was missing was an Eckert and Ziegler model something. I'm not going to read out this whole serial number, but basically they said that it contained an insignificant amount of germanium-68, which is a nuclear material, and that they did confirm that it was depleted prior to shipment, but that the device had gone missing and had since been recovered, but that in any case there was a missing radioactive material that was gone for some time, but it had since been recovered.
Okay, so they lost it, they found it, and I don't know.
They only admitted to it after they were basically put on blast publicly. But a spokesperson for the National Nuclear Safety Administration said that they didn't actually use any drones for nuclear or radiological detection missions, and that it's not currently conducting any aerial operations in that region. But so they did say that they kind of admitted though that they do use drones to search for these things.
Right.
So yeah, I that to me is probably the scariest part of all of this. And yeah, it's, as I said, it's one of those things that when you do look into it, it becomes worrying, the amount of things that do go missing.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the final point I want to touch on, and it's my favorite one, obviously, is the UFO side.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Here we are.
So on Reddit, a man posted there with the the post title being "Odd Conversation with My Uncle in the Military."
Amazing.
Yeah, and basically this user says, "I need to share something that's been on my mind since a recent conversation with my uncle." For context, my uncle is a very high-ranking military official. I don't want to give away too many details about him, but trust me, he's the kind of person who knows things before the rest of us do. I called him the other day because the weird drone sightings in New Jersey have been blowing up online, and I figured he might have some insight. You know, just casually asking, what's up with these drones? Is this military tech or something? But the way he reacted took me off guard. He paused for a long time, and then he said, listen, I can't tell you everything, but these aren't just drones. What's happening is bigger than you can imagine. When I pressed him, he got really serious and said, something big is coming. The world is about to change in ways you can't even comprehend.
Sorry.
He doesn't know my interest in this topic, but I asked him if he had anything to do with the recent UIP hearings. He was surprised at first when I brought that up and said, people need to start paying attention to what's going on in the skies. The truth has been hidden for a long time, but it's going to come out soon. When it does, nothing will be the same. At that point, I could tell he wasn't going to give me any more details, so I dropped it, but the conversation left me completely shaken. My uncle isn't the type to overhype or mess around. If anything, he's the opposite. If he's taking this seriously, maybe we all should.
Maybe we all should.
Yeah.
Sorry. That is just the stupidest thing I think.
I know.
Oh, God. So, my uncle, who's a 3-star general, he told me about them aliens that are coming and that the government's gonna take over and we're gonna be run by FEMA. And, like,
yep.
You know, like, all the gay frogs are gonna be operating us, you know, like, just, jeez.
It's strong, like, my uncle works for Nintendo energy.
Yes, oh my God, like, Obama was there, he clapped. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
so
was
the
it
top comment on this
cross-posted
thread,
to r/that happened?
It was on aliens.
Yep.
So the top comment on this just says, I wish I could believe that you have an uncle high up in the military and he really told you that.
Yeah, I wish. Oh, God. Yeah.
And then just for, you know, for fairness, the second highest comment says, the big change, knowing our gruesome elite, will probably be to say something like aliens are real. They're in charge. Nothing we can do.
Do you think this is because of microplastics? I think this might
probably.
be because of, like, I think we might be on our way to, like, being more, you know, plastic than Barbie. And I think this is resulting in things like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a comment I think that we can all relate with that was slightly further on. My house is almost paid off. I don't need this shit.
I don't need Oh, God. I mean, you know my only requirement. I just hope it's funny.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's my only requirement.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, no, I completely agree. So, yeah, so just to say that came out, a lot of people believe it's the UFO side to things. And a number of journalists, psychologists, and neurologists have basically called the drone sightings a mass panic or a mass delusion event, and basically said that this mass panic is a form of collective behavior within a society that occurs in response to exaggerated beliefs that spread among the population. So we've talked about this already on the mass hysteria episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, that basically they're saying that once some people start talking about UFOs and aliens and things like that, that it's going to spread like wildfire, and that loads of people are going to start talking about it, and that, as far as they're concerned, that's all it is.
Yeah.
That it's going to become this thing. So the last point that I want to make then in all of this is a lot of people have talked about this being a step towards, and I've mentioned it before, this thing that we've talked about called soft disclosure.
Yes, we have talked about that.
And yeah, so soft disclosure basically refers to the gradual release of information about UFOs or UAPs by governments or authoritative bodies rather than this kind of sudden full revelation. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that you slowly introduce the public to the existence existence of these phenomena, allowing society to adjust and process the information over time. So some, I'm not saying these are examples, but some have said that these are examples of self-disclosure. So the first one being the Pentagon reports. So as I said at the start of the episode, the US Department of Defense has released several reports on UAPs, detailing encounters and observations by military personnel. These reports do often include declassified footage and testimonies, but they stop short of confirming extraterrestrial life. Another example is the government hearings. As I said, there were congressional hearings, such as those held by the Senate Intelligence Committee, which have brought UAPs into the public eye. These hearings are often featuring these testimonies from military officials and experts discussing the potential threats and implications of UAPs. Again, stopping short of confirming extraterrestrial life. And then the final, I suppose, example that I've talked about before is documentaries and media. So films and documentaries are kind of put out there into the world to basically slowly bring people around to the idea of UFOs and aliens existing, and that these productions basically contribute to the gradual unveiling of information. So that the whole kind of purpose of this is to basically manage the public reaction and then to avoid widespread panic.
Which is hilarious because like, the government hasn't even soft disclosed the fact that they're fascist. Like, I don't, like, why are they gonna soft, no, they're just gonna come out, they're gonna be like, alien overlords, totally here, under attack, peace out.
Yeah.
Like.
Exactly. So in response to all of this, the current government administration has come out with a statement. So on the 28th of January, so just a few days ago, they said, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Right.
That's their statement on it. And
you know, I actually do, there is an element of that I do believe, because I do believe that it could be like one part of the government not talking to another part of the government. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it could totally be the FAA that was like, yeah, we were doing this research shit. I thought you read the memo. And then the government being like, or the military being like, no, we didn't get the memo. How did you send the memo? Which inbox did it go to? Like, I have a feeling it's just some like, what about Karen? Karen's supposed to let us know about this. And
yeah, so I completely agree. So the only thing that's been pointed to prior to this was that on the 16th of December, so just a month earlier, the Department of Homeland Security released a joint statement with the FBI, the FAA, and the Department of Defense, in which they asserted that the four agencies' investigations had failed to identify anything anomalous about them. Mm-hmm. They'd reviewed over 5,000 reported sightings, and that most of the sightings it examined had routine explanations. They said that they didn't assess the activity to present a national security or public safety risk, and that they noted that most of the sightings were identified as commercial, hobbyist, or law enforcement drones or conventional aircraft.
right.
The statement also addressed the military reported sightings, and they stated that some of them occurred within restricted airspace. The agencies stated that the sightings are not new and that the DoD takes unauthorized access space over its airspace seriously. But they didn't go that step further to confirm that this was all FAA approved drones. So there's been some government officials that have come out in the last few days to say, like, these are not FAA approved drones. Like, this is not the case. So it's a kind of an interesting space that's still very much so active at the moment, and I'll probably bring updates in future episodes at the start to kind of keep people in the know on it. But basically, it's come down as there's two sides. Basically, people are saying it's either all FAA drones or it isn't, and the FAA are kind of scrambling because they themselves don't know and have all but said that they're not 100% certain on what everything is. So
okay.
Yeah, so just a weird
thing
that's going on.
Yeah, it's super weird. I mean, I can go over a couple things that I think. So I think that, like I've said this before, I think partially like people being like really convinced about UAPs and like government involvement in aliens in particular I think that's like a way to divert people from the real issues we need to be talking about, like the reduction in human rights and like policies that are gonna like fuck over real people. And then I think that the other part of it, like, you know me, in terms of like theories about alien contact, I think we're in like if it's out there, I think we're in like the Fermi paradox of it, like the great silence. I think like if an intelligent civilization looked at us, they'd probably be like, we're gonna let these bitches cook a bit longer and see if they get better before, because like I really don't think they like a transcendent alien species would look at us and be like, oh wow, racism's still a thing with them, cool, right, we'll come back later. Like,
yeah, it's one of those weird things that like, yeah, it's this kind of, I suppose, like awkward conversation that like people don't really want to have, I suppose, is that like, if aliens have discovered us, you know, would they really be only talking with our governments and choosing not to, you know, talk to us? Or is it more along the lines of the like the Star Trek side of things that we're just not ready as a society to be engaged with yet? And so they're like staying away from us, basically.
Yeah, like I think it's both profoundly hopeful and also profoundly depressing to think that like there is like a Roddenberry universe out there where people have overcome, you know, like inequality and capitalism and all this other, and violence and all this shit. And then, yeah, they come and look at us and they're like, right, we can't interfere because these are clearly still, like, they're still baking.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, and I think in a weird way it could be almost the most believable if you're going down this route. Like if it's say we're going like this is real. Like if some sort of like space civilization has advanced to a point, like they wouldn't interfere with a planet's like evolution, I suppose. And I think that's the whole point in Star Trek, is that until they split the atom, they're not to engage with them, basically. It wasn't. It was when they discovered light speed.
Yeah, that's, I think or was it warp drive or something?
Yeah, something like that. Like basically once they discover the technology to be able to travel interplanetary or interstellar, then they'll approach them.
We are essentially those like spooky looking dudes at the beginning of Star Trek Into Darkness, where they're trying to save them from the volcano, but like as they see the ship rise up out of the water when they shouldn't, and then they start like worshipping the shape of the ship. Like that's us. That is us.
Yeah, we're still basically like monkeys in caves with sticks at the moment. So.
Yes.
We have a long way to go.
We have miles to go. Like.
Yeah. So, as much as I would love to, go down the route of space travel and exploration, I don't think, unfortunately, we're going to be seeing it in our lifetime.
And I don't think we should. I do not know. Like, currently, I think we're still baking. We should not be talking to other civilizations because we're terrible.
Like they could fix us, though.
They could fix... I mean, it's like that great, what is it? Love, Sex, and Robots, or Sex, Love, and Robots, where there's an episode where like a yogurt that's gone off becomes sentient and is like, if you let me control the world, I'll fix all the problems. And so they let it, and then the yogurt just creates utopia. And I'm like, you know what? Look, I'll follow the yogurt. Fuck it, I like yogurt.
Look, we tried everything else.
Yeah, maybe it was our microbiome the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting. And one thing that I did discover in all of this, which I found just really fascinating, actually, was that basically the government have kind of confirmed that. So I think it was the mayor of New Jersey or something like that, or some governor or something, basically came out and was like, so the government gave us technology to basically detect these drones and shut them off remotely.
Right.
In the sky. However, we're not allowed to do that because it's against the law. So we need the government to basically change the law so we can deal with them.
See, it's all just like a Kafkaesque bureaucratic. I don't think it's nearly as interesting as people want to believe it is.
No, absolutely not. I just find it hilarious that they're like, we have the technology to be able to deal with these, but the law says we can't, so
we won't. Yeah.
Could you fix that, please?
Oh god, that's typical. No, that was really interesting, and I do think it's interesting that there's correlation around nuclear sites, I guess, and all that, but I also think people are around those sites, or I think it's a little bit of apophenia again, like they're primed to see it.
I completely agree. I think people are looking for things that aren't there. Yeah. Basically, I think that. Now, something that I will talk about in a future episode, this whole thing has led to additional people, I suppose, coming out and identifying themselves as whistleblowers.
Okay.
And it's something that I will talk about in future. But one person in particular who's come out, Jake Barber is his name. Holy fuck. Like, this man's going to get a full episode, Suze.
Okay.
But he's gone from, admitting to being part of, crashed UFO recovery programs.
What?
Up to you can summon and communicate UFOs using telepathy. And that the government is basically...
No. Black Pyramid. Free electricity.
Yeah. That basically the government is, world governments have basically have signed this agreement to basically like send out sound waves or frequencies into the planet to basically block people's like psychic abilities, and that we're all capable of telepathy and all this sort of stuff.
We could have much better orgasms if we were like vibrationally aligned with the Black Pyramid.
Exactly, our chakras just aren't in alignment.
I'm also, I mean, I'm sorry if they've like made it to where like heads of state can telepathically communicate with aliens. America's fucking cooked.
Exactly,
like cooked, full on cooked.
Yeah, they're fucked. Yeah. So that's where we are. So I will talk about that in a future episode.
Amazing.
And we'll get to live that existence as well.
Oh God, I want to believe, but I don't. That's the full poster I've got up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I hope you all enjoyed this one. It's a bit of a longer episode, I appreciate. So if you're still here, thank you very much for listening to the end. But yeah, with that said, if you would like to get in touch with us, you can get us on the Spooky AF podcast on Instagram. And on Threads. You can also get us at Gmail at the spookyfpodcast@gmail.com, and we're also on YouTube. So yeah, plenty of places that you can engage with us. I would love to hear your own thoughts on this one.
Yep.
Yeah, a really, really interesting kind of series of events going on there. I'd love to see your own thoughts on this. And yeah, if you've any of your own footage of drones that you've taken that you're not sure about, please do share them and send them in. We recently had someone who shared them with us, and I put out a short episode talking about it. Really interesting. There was some conversation there, some messages sent to us on Instagram, people giving their own thoughts on it as well. So yeah, I'd love to hear your own thoughts on this.
Yeah,
whenever it is you listen to this, I hope you've had a lovely day.
Have a great day and be one with the microplastics, and see y'all next time.
Yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Bye.